Well, they can too. People that were here heard half of what I was going to say. Okay. Okay. I'm Joe Marra, and today we're going to talk about, are we spiritual beings living out a human experience? And if so, what does this mean? Okay? What I want to start with, though, this is really funny. When my buddy and I, John Fox, came here, he handed me one of these brochures, okay? And he's looking through it himself when we came, and he's like, "You're not in here." He's like, "Oh, wait, there you are." And I says, "Oh, okay, that's really cool. I couldn't find it in mine." I said, "What the heck is going on? I don't see it." So I handed it to him. He looked, he goes, "Oh my gosh, you're not on here. The only one I've seen here today. I got this. What's the chances that I came through at that particular time and she handed him, had to go through her hands to his hands to me to get this and go, I'm not on here." But he has it, and on the same page is there I am. So anyway, I don't know why, but it was just funny to me.
What do you need it for?
What do I need it? I don't know, but it's telling me something. I don't know what that is. The angels are talking to me somehow. Okay. All right. So. Oh, thanks.
Invisible person.
Okay, I want to give you a little bit of background about why I'm here. You asked me why I believe in what I believe and all that. Well, it starts out as early on in life. I was born out of a poor Catholic family, and I was a devout Catholic back then. Went to church every Saturday. We went to CCD and all that stuff. I even went to Catholic colleges for my associate and my bachelor's degree. So I entered college right out of high school. I created this contracting business so that I could put myself through school. And I did that for about 15 years. And began working as a RN around 1997. Became a nurse practitioner in 2003. Worked for a physician for a few years. And then I opened my own place. It was an urgent care center in Patton, Pennsylvania, February 14th, 2006. Just happened to be Valentine's Day. Saw my first patient. And after working in mainstay medicine for a while, I decided that I simply wasn't satisfied with the current system. There was just too many things that were coming through the door that we weren't trained in. The psychic kids that were coming in, and they're like, "Hey, look, I don't even want to talk to you because I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm seeing my grandmother." Well, you know what? So now I have to be discernful. Is this person schizophrenic or are they psychic? And near-death experiences, people that are coming in, I died 3 times, but I don't want to tell anybody this because people think I'm crazy. And then they tell me their story, who they saw beyond, and the messages they come back with are profound. I mean, some of the abilities that they have, like playing music that they never could play before, never took a lesson, or mathematics, or the other profound abilities of knowing that these people have. So, you have to question, like, why is this going on? This isn't how we were trained in medicine, so it at least raises an eyebrow. It's like, curious. So, I always question authority, manners, like, you're sitting at the table, the dinner table, and then people are, like your mother's like, "Well, take your hat off." Well, why? Who says that's the right thing to do? Well, because I said so. Well, because that's the truth. I don't get this. The Catholicism's like, well, we have the one true faith. This is it. If you're not Catholic, you're going to hell. You're going to die. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So my earliest recollection of this is having a conversation with my aunt, who's a devout Catholic to this day, love her to death, but she's like, if you're not Catholic, you're going to go to hell. And I'm like, so in other words, if you're unfortunate enough to be born on the other side of the planet, and you die and you're an infant, you're going to hell just because of the religion you're in? Her response was, ignorance is no excuse. I'm like, how's a baby going to know? Well, then it's like, well, maybe they won't go to hell, but maybe they'll go to purgatory. Wait a minute. I don't get it. Why do they suffer? Why do they have to do anything? That wasn't their fault. They were born into that religion, right? So I always question things. So course, I began exploring other avenues of healing because of the things I was seeing. You know, I became a Reiki master in 2008, hypnotherapist in 2008, started my doctorate program in 2008, and which I'll be done in December, thank God, can't wait.
What's your doctorate in?
It'll be a DNP, Doctorate of Nursing Practice. And, you know, I'm wondering to myself, okay, so now I'm a Reiki master, now I'm a hypnotherapist. How can I implement this into my practice and still practice mainstay medicine? Because there's a lot of people that don't believe in hypnotherapy or Reiki, but they believe in mainstay. But I wanted to combine everything together and give you an option. Okay, here's what I see, what's going on with you. You can either go a spiritual route, a healing, you know, complementary is what I'll call it, approach, or the mainstay medicine. Because really, I think it comes down to belief. If you believe you're going to be healed by mainstay medicine, you will. If you believe it's a hypnotherapy thing, then that'll help you. But you have the option, and most places don't give you that option. So, no sooner did I utter those words out of my mouth, and a woman walks into my practice and says, hey, I'm a hypnotherapist. I can help you with weight management, with depression, anxiety. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. And it was the end of the day. It was a Friday. It just so happened there was one patient left, and I was ushering a patient out, and I overheard this, and I was headed to the room, and I thought, wait a minute, I got to talk to her. Ran out, grabbed her card. I said, can you wait for 15 minutes? I got to see another patient, and then I'm free. So 6 hours later, we're still talking about how I could implement her and use her. She was a Reiki master. She was a hypnotherapist as well. And so I hired her, and she became my hypnotherapist Reiki master. And so I did the mainstay medicine, referred them to her whenever I couldn't help them anymore. They've been on all these different medications. Plus, it wasn't appropriate to put them on a medication when they were actually psychic. They just needed some guidance of how to hone their skills and, you know, not be fearful of them, and not have somebody say, you know, or judge them and say, you know what, you're crazy. Here, let me suppress this ability, this psychic ability, which I don't think it's paranormal. I think it's normal. I think we all have the ability. Some of us just come in here with this ability. Or we've had an event, like a near-death experience, that allowed us to tap into it. So, the journey started there, more recently, in the past couple years. We started traveling the country, Virginia, and Gettysburg, and Arizona, Nevada, searching out these people that were just, whether you call them esoteric, they had extra gifts. I mean, we did ghost hunting, UFO hunting, all that kind of stuff, just to see what else was out there besides of what we've been taught in, you know, grade school and college. And once I went down this path and started learning all these extra things, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much more out there than what we've been taught. Now I have this awareness. And now it's like, who do I talk to about this? Because people think I'm crazy. I'm like, you ever hear the saying, it's lonely at the top? Well, I'm not saying that I'm at the top and I'm better than anybody else, because we all sit in our own perfection, at our own awareness. But up here where I'm at, or down wherever you want to look at it, wherever I'm at, I can't talk to anybody because nobody can reach me. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. And as soon as I start talking about it, they're looking at me crazy, like, oh my God, you're out there. You need medicine. So I created a talk show called Universal Talk. And I thought, you know, there's got to be other people out there that have the same situation and would really want to speak of their truth and their piece to this puzzle called life. So I've had people all over the world, and I'm telling you, whether it be South Africa, whole way across the United States, Canada, Ecuador, I mean, all over the place, have been on my radio show. One was a scientist. He worked at an Ivy League here in the United States. He was also an astronaut, and he's a doctor. He talks about free energy that's already existing today that we could tap into. Another one's a financial advisor for the Carter presidency. Several medical doctors that have come through and talked. And I mean, these are valid, credible sources. They're not crazy. They've been through the mainstay medicine, but they've experienced something that not everybody else has experienced, or they have a belief or a thought that has come to mind or a situation that presented them with like, oh my gosh, this really exists type of a thing. Now who do they talk to? So I'm giving them a platform to speak on and say, look, this stuff really exists. We can all do all this stuff. And considering that 3% of our DNA is what we use and the other 97% is considered junk, what's the other stuff used for? Also, the brain function that we use is like 10 to 12%. The people that are the geniuses are using 12% of their brain. What's the rest for? You know, humanity is like great, you know, but the potential is through the roof with what we can and can't do. So, knowing the scientific part of it and the esoteric and blending it all together and taking all walks of life and putting it on the show, it's created this awareness in me that's like, oh my gosh, I really need to speak out on this and educate people that, look, humanity has such a potential that, generally speaking, like what we consider maybe 85% of the population is asleep to it because we've been dumbed down, if you will. I mean, the things that we've been taught, it limits us. Our religions limit us, you know, our jobs, everything. So, the reason I'm here to speak today is to allow you to see that there is a possibility of other things. And I just asked the question, what if? If something rings true to you today, take it home with you and say, yeah, okay, I like that. If it doesn't, then throw it away. I'm not here to preach and convince. I'm just here to say what if. So, speaking of, what have I learned over the past several years? I'm going to give you some what ifs. About 8 questions I want you to think about and go home with today. What if we weren't just physical beings that lived a simple 3D or physical, like everything around you know is physical. That's what I consider 3D, what we perceive with our 5 senses. I mean, because there's some people that believe that we are biological beings, we live, and then we die. That's it. Okay? What if we could exist in more than one dimension at one time? So we're talking about 3D, and this gets into quantum physics here, so not a lot of people believe in this either, but some believe that we can exist here and another dimension at the same time. You're not aware of it because you're in this consciousness right now, this a veil before you, if you will, to limit your sight, if you will. What if the human body was a guidance system? So when you guys come into me and you have an abdominal disorder and you have like an ulcer, what does that mean to me, knowing what I know in addition to mainstay medicine? Well, you got an ulcer, I better give you this prescription. What if I have an extra knowledge about me that says, this is where her energy center is here, and therefore that's your power, that's your self-esteem, that's your money. And then I started asking, do you have money problems? And then lo and behold, you're like, yeah, how'd you know I have money problems? Well, it's a mind-body-spirit thing, the way I look at your body. So now, when I'm looking upon you and I say, okay, let's talk about this. We can either talk about mainstay medicine, or we can talk about the whole mind-body-spirit thing. And some people choose to like, I don't want to talk about anything but the physical. Give me some Prilosec and I'll be on my way. And that's fine. That's okay. Other people want to get to the root of the problem, because a lot of people that come in with anxiety or stress, if you will, they'll come in with migraine headaches and tension headaches, ulcers, heart attacks, all kind of things that are they're presented to their body because of stress or out of balance. The way I look at it, their body is out of balance. So I try to teach them how to get back into balance and fix the underlying problem, rather than giving you a medication that's going to cost you money, and you become a kind of a legalized drug dealer, if you will.